Forgotten but not broken. The Galactic Federation once thought humanity was a relic of their past, a forgotten tool, designed and discarded. Centuries ago, humans were engineered for one purpose: war. Their creators, alien scientists, forged them with unparalleled precision, blending aggression and intellect in a way that made humans perfect soldiers. But when the war ended, the Federation faced an ethical reckoning. Debates raged, led by factions who saw humans as sentient beings deserving rights, and others who viewed them as outdated weapons. In the end, the Federation chose the path of least resistance. Humanity was exiled to a reservation planet, isolated and monitored once every millennium. Earth became their forgotten sanctuary. Over generations, humans were left to their own devices, severed from the advanced technologies of their creators. Yet, unlike the Federation's prediction of stagnation, humans adapted and thrived. Their resilience, curiosity, and ability to innovate in adversity propelled them into an unexpected evolutionary arc, forgotten, yes, but far from broken. A routine check-in. Commander Lior of the Avaran species was assigned to Earth's millennial check-in. The Avarans, a bird-like species known for their meticulous efficiency, had a long-standing reputation within the Federation as overseers of forgotten worlds. For Lior, this mission was routine, even tedious, a mere tick box in his career as a Federation officer. Approaching Earth's solar system, Lior's ship, the Sentinel's Wing, detected anomalies almost immediately. His console beeped incessantly, showing unexpected activity in Earth's orbit. Artificial satellites and faint radio waves emerged from his scans, starkly contrasting the expected signs of primitive life. He frowned, muttering to himself, this planet was supposed to be dormant. How? Lior adjusted his sensors, zooming in on the planet. The data pouring in was staggering: elevated levels of atmospheric radiation, consistent electromagnetic signals, and signs of infrastructure that suggested advanced spacefaring capabilities. His feathers bristled. Humanity, the forgotten experiment, had defied its imposed fate. A galactic oversight. Lior transmitted an urgent report back to the Federation: humanity has advanced beyond predicted capabilities. Immediate review of containment protocols required. The report was marked with the highest priority. But even as he pressed send, doubt crept into his mind. The Federation's bureaucracy was slow and indifferent, often dismissing reports from fringe systems. By the time they acted, if they acted, things could spiral out of control. As the Sentinel's Wing entered Earth's orbit, the first sign of trouble arrived in the form of an aggressive hail. A deep, authoritative voice cracked over the comms. Unidentified vessel, you have entered Earth's restricted airspace. Identify yourself immediately or prepare to be neutralized. Lior hesitated, his talons hovering over the controls. He activated his translator and responded cautiously. This is Commander Lior of the Galactic Federation. I am here for a routine observation. I mean no harm. The response was swift and uncompromising. Your presence is unauthorized. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Lior's heart raced. This was no primitive society. Humanity had developed not only the technology to intercept his ship but also the boldness to confront an alien visitor head-on. An unexpected encounter. Before Lior could comply, a formation of sleek, angular spacecraft appeared on his sensors. The human ships surrounded him with precision, their weapons locked onto his vessel. The design of their crafts was unlike anything he had seen in Federation records: compact, efficient, and deadly. Lior's mind raced as his ship was pulled toward a massive orbital station. The structure was a testament to human ingenuity, sprawling, brimming with activity, and equipped with technology that rivaled some of the Federation's own. It was clear now that humanity had not merely survived, they had thrived. The docking bay doors opened with a hiss, and Lior prepared himself for what lay ahead. He adjusted his uniform, ensuring he looked as authoritative as possible. As the airlock unsealed, a group of humans entered, armed yet composed. At their head was a tall figure, clad in a dark uniform adorned with insignias of rank. His silver hair framed a face marked by years of experience. I am Admiral Tessa Carter, the man said, his voice steady. Welcome to Earth's orbit, Commander. You have a lot of explaining to do. A history unearthed. Lior's sharp eyes darted around the room. The humans were alert, their weapons trained, but their expressions betrayed curiosity. This wasn't a people ruled by fear. They were confident, determined, and ready to defend their home. Clearing his throat, Lior began, "Admiral Carter, I am here as an observer. My mission is..." "Observation?" Carter interrupted, her voice laced with skepticism. "For 1,000 years, your Federation abandoned us. And now, when we've clawed our way back to the stars, you come to observe?" Lior hesitated. The Federation's history with Earth was not his to defend, but he couldn't afford to escalate tensions. "My presence here is not meant to threaten," he said carefully. "But I must admit, your progress is unexpected." Carter smirked, a glint of pride in her eyes. "Unexpected to you, maybe. To us, it was inevitable. You left us with nothing but our will to survive, and we turned that will into strength." The exchange continued, each side probing the other for information. Lior learned that humanity had unified centuries ago, driven by a shared purpose, to reclaim their place among the stars. Earth's nations had pooled their resources, creating a singular global effort to advance their technology and defend their planet. The spark of defiance. As the conversation deepened, Lior realized the gravity of the situation. Humanity was no longer a forgotten experiment but a rising force, one that could challenge the Federation's status quo. The humans, in turn, began to see Lior not as a threat but as a potential key to understanding the galaxy beyond their home. The encounter ended with a tentative truce. Carter escorted Lior to a viewing deck, where he saw Earth for the first time with his own eyes, a vibrant, thriving world that defied all expectations. "This," Carter said, gesturing to the planet below, "is who we are. And we won't be forgotten again." Lior's feathers ruffled as he contemplated the path ahead. Humanity was no longer a relic of the past. They were the future, and the galaxy was about to learn it the hard way, the Federation's shadow. Admiral Tessa Carter stood on the observation deck of the Helios space station, her eyes fixed on Earth below. Its swirling blues and greens belied the struggles of its past and the resolve of its people. Behind her, Commander Lior observed in silence, his alien features unreadable but his mind racing. The Federation had underestimated these humans. Their resilience was not just a trait, it was their defining strength. For a long moment, the room was quiet except for the faint hum of the station's systems. Then Carter turned to face Lior, her tone sharp and probing. "Let's cut the pretense, Commander. Your Federation abandoned us centuries ago. So, why now? Why bother to check in after all this time?" Lior hesitated. The question struck deeper than he cared to admit. Truthfully, he had no satisfactory answer. "It is protocol," he said finally, though the words felt hollow. "Every 1,000 years, we evaluate the progress of abandoned worlds." Carter's eyes narrowed. "Evaluate? Is that what you call it? Watching from the shadows while we scraped by, fighting wars, facing extinction, clawing our way back to the stars? Do you even realize what that feels like?" Lior shifted uncomfortably under her gaze. "I wasn't involved in those decisions," he said carefully. "But I was taught that humanity's isolation was meant to preserve balance within the galaxy. Your intensity was seen as a threat." Carter barked a laugh, cold and humorless. "A threat? To who? The Federation?" Unveiling the Federation's truth. The tension in the room was palpable as Carter's words hung in the air. Lior, sensing the conversation teetering on the edge of hostility, decided to offer more transparency. "The truth," he began slowly, "is that your people were not abandoned out of cruelty. The Federation feared what you could become. Your adaptability, your resourcefulness, your capacity for destruction and creation, it frightened them. So, they chose to isolate you, believing you would stagnate without their guidance." Carter's jaw tightened, her fists clenched at her sides. "And yet, here we are," she said, her voice low but fierce. "We didn't stagnate. We thrived. And now you're back, watching us again like we're an experiment that slipped out of its cage." Lior's feathers ruffled slightly, a subconscious display of his unease. "That's not how I see it," he replied, though he knew it was exactly how many in the Federation viewed humanity. "But I understand why you feel that way. It's clear now that the Federation was wrong about you." The shadow of progress. As their conversation continued, Carter led Lior through the station's halls, pointing out key advancements in human technology. They passed rooms filled with engineers working on experimental propulsion systems, scientists analyzing data from deep space probes, and soldiers training in zero-gravity combat. "You thought we'd stay primitive," Carter said as they entered a room dominated by a holographic map of the solar system. "But we've mapped the stars, sent colonies to Mars and Titan, and even begun exploring beyond our system. This station is just the beginning." Lior studied the map, his keen eyes noting the strategic placements of satellites and outposts. It was an impressive display of progress, one that rivaled even some Federation member species. "But at what cost?" he asked, his voice quiet. "Your advancements are remarkable, but I detected elevated levels of radiation in your atmosphere. Have you not paid a steep price for your progress?" Carter's expression darkened. "We've made mistakes," she admitted. "We've fought wars, polluted our planet, and pushed ourselves to the brink more times than I care to count. But each time, we've found a way to survive. That's who we are, Commander. We face the impossible and come out stronger." A warning from the stars. Before Lior could respond, a soft chime echoed through the room, followed by a voice over the intercom. "Admiral Carter, you're needed in the command center. Unidentified vessels have entered the outer perimeter." Carter's eyes snapped to Lior, suspicion flaring in her gaze. "Are they yours?" Lior shook his head, equally alarmed. "I wasn't expecting reinforcements. This isn't Federation protocol." Together, they hurried to the command center, where a large screen displayed the incoming ships. They were sleek and menacing, their dark hulls adorned with crimson markings. Lior's stomach dropped. He recognized the design immediately. "Krillith," he said, his voice grim. Carter turned to him sharply. "Who are the Krillith?" "They're raiders," Lior explained. "Nomadic scavengers who prey on unprotected worlds. They're ruthless and heavily armed." Carter's lips pressed into a thin line. "How did they find us?" Lior hesitated. "It's possible, they followed my ship. I may have inadvertently led them here." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Then Carter straightened, her expression hardening. "We've dealt with worse," she said firmly. "Prepare the defense grid. Let's show these raiders what happens when you threaten Earth." The first test. As alarms blared and the station's crew scrambled into action, Lior watched in awe. Humanity's unity was on full display as they coordinated their efforts with precision and determination. Within minutes, the defense grid was activated, a network of automated turrets and missile launchers coming online. Carter turned to Lior, her eyes blazing with resolve. "If you're here to observe, then observe this. We're not the helpless species you left behind." The Krillith ships entered firing range, their weapons lighting up the void with deadly energy blasts. But the humans were ready. The station's defenses roared to life, intercepting the incoming fire with pinpoint accuracy. Human fighters launched from the station, their sleek designs optimized for speed and agility. Lior could only watch as the battle unfolded. The humans fought with a ferocity and ingenuity that defied all his expectations. They used tactics that were unconventional yet devastatingly effective, exploiting the Krillith's weaknesses with precision. A turning point. As the battle raged, Lior found himself torn. He had come to Earth as an observer, a passive recorder of events. But seeing the humans fight, seeing their unyielding spirit in the face of a greater threat, stirred something within him. When a Krillith ship broke through the defensive perimeter and targeted the station itself, Lior made his decision. He activated his ship's weapons systems and launched into the fray. Carter's voice crackled over the comms. "What are you doing, Commander?" "Proving that the Federation was wrong about you," Lior replied. With his advanced weaponry and tactical knowledge, Lior turned the tide of the battle. Together, he and the humans drove the Krillith away, forcing the raiders to retreat into the void. An alliance forged. When the dust settled, Carter approached Lior, her expression a mix of gratitude and guarded respect. "You didn't have to help us," she said. Lior inclined his head. "No, but I wanted to. Humanity has proven itself today, Admiral. You are not the forgotten remnants of an old war. You are a force to be reckoned with." Carter smiled faintly. "Maybe now your Federation will think twice before dismissing us again." Lior nodded, a newfound respect for humanity burning in his chest. The humans were no longer an observation, they were allies. Humanity's awakening. The hum of the Helios space station resonated faintly as the battle subsided. Humanity had just proven their resilience and ingenuity in a way no observer from the Galactic Federation could have foreseen. Commander Lior stood on the bridge of his sleek Federation vessel, the Sentinel's wing, watching as Earth rotated below. His mind churned with the implications of what he had witnessed. Humanity was not just surviving, it was rising. Admiral Tessa Carter, standing beside him, broke the silence. "So, Commander, what's your Federation going to say about this?" Lior glanced at her, his feathers fluttering slightly, a subconscious gesture of unease. "They will see what I've sent them, a unified, advanced humanity capable of defending itself. But how they'll react, that is harder to predict." Carter folded her arms, her sharp gaze unyielding. "Let me guess. They won't exactly roll out a welcome mat, will they?" Lior hesitated. The Federation has a long history of controlling the narrative. They'll be forced to address this, but not necessarily in the way you hope. The spark of defiance. Carter's lips pressed into a thin line. She turned to a nearby console, calling up a holographic display of Earth's defense network. "Then we have to be ready. If the Federation decides we're a threat, we won't get a second chance to prove otherwise." Lior studied the display. It was impressive, a network of orbital platforms, satellites armed with railguns, and planetary shields under development. But against the full might of the Federation, it might not be enough. "You're preparing for a fight you can't win," he said softly. Carter looked at him, her expression hard and resolute. "We've been fighting impossible odds since the day we were abandoned. If the Federation comes for us, we'll give them a fight they'll never forget." An ancient revelation. As Carter and Lior strategized, an alert pinged from the station's research division. Carter's communicator crackled. "Admiral, we've decoded fragments from the Federation probe we intercepted last year. You need to see this." Carter frowned and motioned for Lior to follow her. They made their way to the research lab, where scientists huddled around a console. On the screen was an array of alien symbols and star charts. One of the researchers, a young woman with sharp eyes, explained. "This probe was scanning Earth when we intercepted it. We thought it was just collecting data, but it was sending something back, a location." The screen zoomed in on a point in space, a barren system on the edge of Federation-controlled territory. "It's a research station," Lior murmured, recognizing the coordinates. Carter's eyes narrowed. "What kind of research station?" "The Federation's archives," Lior admitted reluctantly. "It contains records of every experiment they've ever conducted, including humanity." The room fell silent as the weight of his words sank in. Carter's mind raced. "If we access that station, we could learn everything, the truth about our origins, why they abandoned us, what they fear most about us." Lior hesitated. "It's heavily guarded. The Federation won't let you anywhere near it." Carter smirked. "They won't have a choice if they don't see us coming." The mission begins. Over the next several days, humanity's best minds collaborated with Lior to devise a plan. The mission would be a covert strike, using Earth's most advanced stealth technology combined with Lior's insider knowledge of Federation protocols. Carter stood before a group of selected operatives, her voice firm and commanding. "This mission isn't just about uncovering the truth. It's about taking control of our destiny. For too long, we've been at the mercy of forces we don't understand. That ends now." Lior, standing at the edge of the room, couldn't help but admire their determination. These humans had been shaped by adversity into something the Federation had never accounted for. The team chosen for the mission included the best humanity had to offer: Lieutenant Aria Morales, a stealth pilot with unmatched reflexes, Dr. Elias Khan, a cybernetic specialist in codebreaker, and Sergeant Malik Torres, a soldier whose resourcefulness had saved countless lives during Earth's planetary unification wars. Together, with Lior as their guide, they prepared to infiltrate the Federation's most secure facility. The journey to the archives. The stealth ship, Erebus, was humanity's latest technological marvel. Designed for deep space infiltration, it was equipped with a cloaking device that rendered it invisible to most forms of detection. Lior had shared key insights into Federation scanning technologies, ensuring their route would avoid major patrols. As they approached the Baron system, tension filled the air. The crew sat in silence, each member focused on their task. Carter, who had insisted on joining the mission, moved to stand beside Lior in the cockpit. "You've seen this station before?" she asked. "Only from a distance," Lior replied. "Even Federation officers aren't given unrestricted access. But I know enough to get us inside." Carter studied him for a moment. "You're risking a lot for us." "Why?" Lior's gaze didn't waver. "Because I believe the Federation is wrong about you. And because I want to see what you'll become when you're free." The hidden secrets. The Erebus slipped past the station's defenses with ease, its cloaking device masking its approach. The team docked at an unmonitored maintenance bay and began their infiltration. Inside, the station was vast and sterile, its walls lined with glowing panels that hummed faintly. The team moved quickly and silently, guided by Lior's knowledge of the layout. As they reached the central archive, Dr. Khan hacked into the station's systems, bypassing layers of encryption. The data they uncovered was staggering. Files on humanity's creation, detailed genetic modifications, and psychological experiments filled the screens. But it was the most recent file that caught Carter's attention: Operation Final Barrier. The file outlined a contingency plan to eradicate humanity if they ever became a threat to the Federation. It included detailed schematics for a fleet of extermination ships already under construction. Carter's blood ran cold. They weren't just watching us. They were preparing to destroy us. A race against time. Alarms suddenly blared, echoing through the station. Federation forces had detected the intruders. The team scrambled to download as much data as they could before the station's security forces arrived. As soldiers closed in, Carter and her team fought their way back to the Erebus. The battle was fierce, with humans using their ingenuity to outmaneuver the more technologically advanced Federation troops. Lior piloted the ship with expert precision, weaving through enemy fire as they made their escape. The station's defenses lit up, but the Erebus slipped into hyperspace just in time, disappearing into the void. The truth revealed. Back on Helios Station, the data from the archives was analyzed. The truth about humanity's creation and the Federation's plans spread like wildfire, igniting a spark of unity and defiance among Earth's population. Carter stood before a crowd of leaders and citizens, her voice steady and resolute. "We now know the truth. We were created to serve, abandoned to stagnate, and watched as if we were nothing more than an experiment. But they underestimated us. We are not tools. We are not relics. We are humanity, and we will no longer be controlled." The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices a thunderous declaration of their determination. Lior watched from the shadows, a sense of awe and unease washing over him. Humanity was no longer a forgotten race. They were awakening, and the galaxy would never be the same. Clash of cultures. The Helios space station buzzed with activity as the revelation of humanity's origins spread across Earth and its orbital colonies. Admiral Tessa Carter had just delivered a rallying speech to the global population, igniting a fervor that would not easily be extinguished. The galaxy's most underestimated species was awake, and their determination to carve out a future on their own terms was unstoppable. Commander Lior, meanwhile, found himself at a crossroads. As he paced in his quarters aboard the Sentinel's wing, he replayed the events of the Archive mission. Humanity's rapid progress and fierce independence fascinated him, but it was the Federation's contingency plan, Operation Final Barrier, that gnawed at his conscience. His people had sworn to uphold peace and order, yet their treatment of humanity was anything but just. A sharp knock interrupted his thoughts. The door slid open to reveal Carter, her expression a mix of curiosity and urgency. "You've been quiet since we got back," she said. "Are you having second thoughts?" Lior shook his head, his feathers ruffling slightly. "No. But I'm beginning to realize how deeply the Federation has failed. Humanity deserved better." Carter crossed her arms and leaned against the doorway. "We don't need your pity, Commander. What we need is a plan. If the Federation sees us as a threat, they won't hesitate to act." Lior nodded solemnly. "They will come. And they won't come alone. The Federation responds." True to Lior's warning, the Galactic Federation was already mobilizing. On the distant capital world of Zalora Prime, the Council convened in an emergency session. Holographic projections of alien representatives flickered around the chamber, their expressions ranging from outrage to apprehension. "They breached the archives," snarled Chancellor Krylek, a reptilian Zervan whose species often spearheaded Federation enforcement. "This is an act of war." High Consul Arev, an elder of the Serene Krentorians, raised a hand to silence the room. "Before we escalate this situation, we must consider the consequences. Humanity is no longer isolated, but a direct attack could destabilize the fragile balance of the Federation." Krylek slammed a clawed hand on his podium. "They are an anomaly. A mistake we should have eradicated long ago. Allowing them to progress unchecked will only embolden them." The chamber erupted into debate, but one voice stood out above the rest. Ambassador Silvara, a representative of the Avan species, spoke with a calm yet commanding tone. "Commander Lior's report indicates that humanity has not only survived but thrived under conditions we deemed impossible. Their unity, innovation, and adaptability are remarkable. Perhaps we should engage them diplomatically." Krylek sneered. "Diplomacy? With a species bred for war? They'll see it as weakness." The Council deliberated for hours before reaching a tenuous decision. A task force would be dispatched to Earth to deliver an ultimatum. Humanity would either submit to Federation oversight or face military action. The arrival. 3 weeks later, the skies above Earth shimmered with the arrival of a Federation fleet. Massive, elegant starships hung like celestial behemoths, their hulls gleaming with the light of distant stars. At the center of the formation was the Eternal Accord, a flagship of unparalleled size and power. Carter stood on the bridge of the Helios station, her jaw set in defiance. Around her, officers scrambled to ready Earth's defense systems. The station's long-range sensors painted a grim picture. The Federation fleet was equipped with weapons and shields far beyond anything humanity had encountered before. "We're outgunned," said Lieutenant Aurea Morales, her voice tight with worry. Carter glanced at Lior, who had joined her on the bridge. "Tell me you have a way to de-escalate this." Lior's expression was unreadable. The Federation doesn't take well to defiance. But they also don't want an open war. If we can present ourselves as equals, we might have a chance. Carter's brow furrowed. "And if we can't?" Lior's feathers drooped slightly. "Then we're looking at a war Earth cannot win alone." The standoff. A holographic projection of the Federation fleet's admiral flickered to life in the center of the bridge. Admiral Velan, a Zervan with cold, calculating eyes, wasted no time. "Humans of Earth," he began, his voice carrying a menacing edge. "You have violated Federation protocols by accessing restricted archives and advancing your technology beyond acceptable limits. Your actions have disrupted the order of the galaxy." Carter stepped forward, her voice steady and firm. "Admiral Velan, we've done nothing but reclaim what was taken from us. The Federation abandoned us, left us to fend for ourselves, and now you want to punish us for surviving?" Velan's eyes narrowed. "Your survival was never guaranteed. It was a mistake to let your kind persist. You will submit to Federation oversight or face immediate consequences." Carter's jaw tightened. "We won't submit. If you attack us, you'll learn just how far humanity has come. A show of strength. The exchange ended with no resolution, and the Federation fleet began maneuvering into attack formations. On the surface of Earth and across its orbital platforms, humanity braced for the inevitable. Then, in an unexpected move, Carter ordered a bold countermeasure. "Activate Project Phoenix," she commanded. Lior's eyes widened in surprise. "What's Project Phoenix?" Carter smirked. Something the Federation didn't expect. Moments later, several massive ships emerged from Earth's shadow, their hulls gleaming with advanced technology. Built in secret using knowledge gained from the archives, these vessels were humanity's first leap into true interstellar combat. The Erebus, now retrofitted with Earth's best advancements, led the charge. Its cloaking systems flickered as it darted between Federation ships, disabling key systems with precision strikes. The sudden display of strength caught the Federation off guard. Unity amid conflict. The Federation's initial assault faltered as humanity's ingenuity and unorthodox tactics turned the tide. Federation ships, designed for calculated warfare, struggled against Earth's adaptive strategies. On the Helios Bridge, Carter coordinated with commanders across the globe, her voice a beacon of leadership. "This isn't just about Earth," she declared. "This is about showing the galaxy who we are. We won't be forgotten. We won't be controlled." Lior, watching the unfolding battle, felt a mix of awe and pride. Despite the odds, humanity was holding its own. But he knew this was only the beginning. The Federation would not back down easily. A fragile truce. After hours of intense combat, the Federation fleet withdrew to regroup. Velan's hologram appeared once more, his demeanor strained. "This isn't over," he warned. "But you've made your point. The Council will reconvene to determine the next steps." Carter nodded, her expression unyielding. "You do that. And tell them this, humanity isn't going anywhere." As the Federation fleet vanished into hyperspace, a sense of uneasy victory settled over Earth. The battle had been won, but the war for humanity's place in the galaxy was far from over. Lior, standing beside Carter, spoke softly. "You've defied the odds again. But the Federation doesn't forgive easily. Be ready for what's coming next." Carter's eyes gleamed with determination. "We'll be ready. No matter what. Breaking the chains." The scars of the recent battle still marred the space around Earth. Debris from Federation and human ships alike drifted through the void, a testament to humanity's defiance. Though they had forced the Federation to withdraw, the uneasy silence that followed was heavy with the promise of future conflict. Admiral Tessa Carter stood in the Helios space station's war room, her gaze fixed on the holographic projection of Earth's orbital defenses. Around her, the station's senior officers and advisors exchanged ideas, strategies, and grim assessments of their chances should the Federation return. "Admiral," said Lieutenant Aria Morales, gesturing to a blinking alert on her console. "We've intercepted a transmission from the Federation fleet. They're regrouping at a staging area just outside our system." Carter's expression hardened. "How long before they're ready to strike again?" "2 weeks, at most," Morales replied. "They're bringing reinforcements. A full-scale invasion." The room fell silent as the weight of the news settled over the gathered leaders. Carter turned to Commander Lior, who stood apart from the group, his alien features unreadable. "We need more than just defenses," Carter said. "We need allies. You've seen the Federation's power. How do we convince other species to stand with us?" Lior hesitated, his feathers fluttering in thought. "It won't be easy. The Federation has ruled for millennia. Most species see resistance as futile. But there are those who resent their control. If we can show them that humanity has a chance, they might be willing to join us." The seeds of rebellion. With Lior's guidance, Carter dispatched emissaries to the Federation's fringes, regions where dissent against the Council simmered just below the surface. Messages were sent to independent colonies, oppressed planets, and rogue factions, calling for unity against a common foe. Meanwhile, Earth's scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to upgrade their technology. The data retrieved from the Federation archives provided a treasure trove of insights. From advanced propulsion systems to energy weapons, humanity was evolving faster than ever before. Dr. Elias Khan, the cybernetic specialist who had been instrumental in the archive mission, stood in a massive hangar on Earth, overseeing the construction of a new class of warships. Dubbed the Liberation Fleet, these vessels represented the pinnacle of human ingenuity, combining Federation advancements with Earth's innovative spirit. "We're not just defending ourselves," Khan said during a broadcast to Earth's population. "We're creating a future where no species has to live under the shadow of oppression." The broadcast ignited a surge of hope and determination across the planet. Factories worked around the clock, volunteers poured into training camps, and humanity prepared for the fight of its life. The Federation's warning. 2 weeks passed, and as expected, the Federation fleet returned. This time, they arrived not with weapons blazing but with a chilling ultimatum. A holographic projection of High Consul Arev filled the Helios war room, his calm demeanor belying the threat in his words. "Humans," he began, his voice smooth and measured. "You have demonstrated remarkable resilience, but this defiance cannot continue. Submit to the Federation's authority, and we will allow your people to integrate peacefully. Resist, and you will face annihilation." Carter stepped forward, her stance unyielding. "We won't bow to a council that abandoned us. Humanity will determine its own destiny." Arev's hologram flickered slightly as his expression darkened. "You misunderstand, Admiral. This is not a negotiation. It is a final warning." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the room in tense silence. The first sparks of unity. As the Federation prepared its forces for another assault, a surprising message arrived at Helios Station. A delegation from the Krentorian Freehold, a small but fiercely independent star nation, requested a meeting with Carter and Lior. The Krentorian delegation arrived aboard a sleek diplomatic vessel, their ambassador, a crystalline being named Vara, stepping forward with an air of grace. Her voice resonated with a melodic hum as she spoke. "Admiral Carter, Commander Lior," Vara said, inclining her translucent head. "We have watched humanity's defiance with great interest. Your courage inspires us, and we wish to offer our aid." Carter exchanged a glance with Lior, her skepticism evident. "Why would you risk standing against the Federation for us?" Vera's crystalline form glimmered as she replied, "Because we, too, have suffered under their rule. If humanity can rise, so can others. Together, we can show the galaxy that the Federation's time is over." The Krentorians brought more than just moral support, they provided advanced shielding technology and their own fleet of agile ships, perfectly suited for hit-and-run tactics. Their alliance marked the beginning of a coalition that would soon grow. The coalition grows. Word of humanity's stand spread rapidly, reaching species and factions that had long harbored grievances against the Federation. Some joined out of shared ideals, others for strategic reasons, and a few simply to weaken the Federation's hold on the galaxy. The coalition quickly became a patchwork of unlikely allies. The Zarathi nomads, a species of insectoid traders, provided critical supply lines and resources. The Reiner clans, a warrior society known for their brutal combat tactics, pledged their battle-hardened troops. The Dravani technomancers, masters of artificial intelligence, offered cybernetic enhancements and drones. Each group brought something unique to the table, and under Carter's leadership, they began to function as a unified force. The final push. As the Federation fleet prepared for its second invasion, humanity and its allies launched a daring preemptive strike. Using the stealth capabilities of the Erebus and Krentorian cloaking technology, the coalition infiltrated the Federation's staging area. The battle that ensued was nothing short of chaos. The coalition's unconventional tactics confounded the Federation's rigid strategies. Human ingenuity and adaptability were on full display as Carter's forces turned the tide. In the midst of the chaos, Lior faced a moral reckoning. Piloting the Sentinel's wing, he used his intimate knowledge of Federation protocols to disable key enemy vessels. For the first time, he fought not for the Federation but for humanity, a choice that would forever change him. A victory with a cost. By the battle's end, the Federation fleet was in disarray, forced to retreat once more. The coalition celebrated their victory, but the cost was heavy. Ships were lost, lives were sacrificed, and Earth itself bore the scars of orbital bombardment. Standing on the deck of Helios Station, Carter addressed the coalition. Her voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed the weight she carried. "This is just the beginning," she said. "The Federation will come again, and we must be ready. But today, we've shown the galaxy that unity, resilience, and courage can challenge even the greatest of powers. Together, we are unstoppable." The room erupted in cheers, their voices echoing through the station. Humanity had taken its first steps toward breaking the chains of the Federation's control. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in centuries, it was a future of their own making. Earth's rising star. The air within the Helios space station was electric with a sense of triumph, yet beneath the surface, tension simmered. The coalition had won a decisive battle against the Galactic Federation, but everyone knew it was merely the beginning. Admiral Tessa Carter stood at the forefront of humanity's effort to prepare for what lay ahead, her mind constantly turning over strategies, alliances, and contingencies. In the wake of the battle, Earth had become a beacon of hope for the oppressed and overlooked. Species across the galaxy, once cowed by the Federation's power, now turned their eyes to this defiant planet. For centuries, Earth had been a forgotten corner of the galaxy, but now it was the center of a growing movement that threatened to shake the very foundations of the Federation. Rebuilding and rising. The damage from the recent battle was extensive. Helios space station required weeks of repairs to restore its operational capacity, and Earth's orbital defense grid was still incomplete. Despite the challenges, the spirit of humanity and its allies was unyielding. Reconstruction efforts surged forward, with engineers and scientists working tirelessly to improve every facet of their defenses. Dr. Elias Khan, humanity's foremost cybernetic specialist, was at the heart of these efforts. In a sprawling lab on the station, he stood before a holographic display of Earth's defense grid, surrounded by a team of human and Crentorian engineers. "The Federation's technology is advanced, but it's not invulnerable," Khan explained, his voice firm. "Their reliance on centralized systems is their weakness. If we can disrupt their networks, we can neutralize their advantage." Vera, the crystalline ambassador of the Crentorians, nodded in agreement. "We've developed a pulse disruptor that could disable their fleet's coordination for several minutes. If deployed strategically, it would give our forces a critical window to strike." The room buzzed with the exchange of ideas as humanity's ingenuity meshed seamlessly with the unique expertise of its allies. It was a collaboration unlike anything the galaxy had seen before, a testament to the potential of unity. A galactic message. Meanwhile, Admiral Carter prepared to address not just Earth, but the entire coalition and the galaxy beyond. With the help of the Dravani technomancers, her message would be broadcast across multiple systems, bypassing Federation-controlled channels. Standing before a holographic camera, Carter straightened her uniform and took a steadying breath. The room fell silent as the recording began. "To all who hear this message," she began, her voice steady and commanding. "For centuries, the Galactic Federation has ruled with an iron grip, claiming to bring order and peace while suppressing those who dared to rise beyond their place. Humanity was one such species, created, used, and discarded. But we are not tools. We are not relics of a forgotten past. We are a people who have risen from the ashes of abandonment, stronger and more united than ever." She paused, her gaze unwavering. "To those who suffer under the Federation's rule, know this, you are not alone. Together, we have shown that even the mightiest empires can be challenged. Join us, and we will build a future where no species is left behind. Together, we can forge a new order. One built on freedom, equality, and hope." The broadcast ended, but its impact rippled across the galaxy. On distant worlds and hidden colonies, Carter's words ignited a spark of defiance. Species that had long accepted their subjugation began to whisper of rebellion, their voices growing louder with each passing day. The Federation's counter-move. On the capital world of Zalora Prime, the Galactic Federation's Council convened in a state of unprecedented urgency. High Consul Arev presided over the meeting, his calm demeanor masking the turmoil that threatened to fracture the council. Humanity's rebellion cannot be ignored, declared Chancellor Krylek, his reptilian eyes narrowing. Their defiance is spreading like wildfire. If we allow this coalition to grow, it will destabilize the entire Federation. Ambassador Silvara of the Averans countered, her voice measured. And yet, direct action has already failed. Every attempt to crush them has only made them stronger. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our approach. Krylek snarled, slamming his clawed hand on the table. Reconsider? They accessed our archives. They've weaponized our technology. They are a threat to everything we've built. Arav raised a hand, silencing the room. Enough. Humanity's defiance has revealed cracks in our foundation. If we are to preserve the Federation, we must address these cracks, not with brute force, but with strategy. A tense silence followed his words. Finally, Arav continued. We will dispatch envoys to the coalition under the guise of diplomacy. Meanwhile, we will prepare a contingency plan to ensure humanity's rebellion does not spread further. A hidden betrayal. As the Federation plotted its next move, Carter and her allies remained vigilant. Lior, the Averran commander who had defected to humanity's cause, worked tirelessly to unravel the Federation's strategies. But even he couldn't anticipate the betrayal that was about to unfold. Among the coalition's ranks was a faction of Zarathi nomads who had secretly maintained ties to the Federation. Unbeknownst to the coalition, they had been feeding information to the Federation in exchange for promises of protection. During a critical strategy meeting aboard Helios Station, a coded message from the Zarathi was intercepted by the station's security systems. The contents of the message were damning. It detailed the coalition's defensive weaknesses and the location of key installations. Carter's face darkened as she read the message. We trusted them, she said, her voice cold with anger. And they sold us out. Lior stepped forward, his expression grim. The Federation will exploit this information. We must act quickly to secure our assets and neutralize the threat. A desperate gambit. Realizing the urgency of the situation, Carter ordered a preemptive strike against the Zarathi traders. The coalition's forces moved swiftly, targeting the Zarathi fleet before they could deliver the information to the Federation. The battle was brutal, fought in the asteroid belt of a nearby system. Humanity's forces, bolstered by their allies, clashed with the Zarathi in a chaotic melee of ships and weaponry. Lior piloted the Sentinel's wing with unmatched precision, his knowledge of Federation tactics proving invaluable. Though the coalition emerged victorious, the cost was high. Several ships were lost, and the alliance's trust in one another was shaken. Carter addressed her commanders in the aftermath, her voice resolute. This betrayal won't break us, she said. It will make us stronger. The Federation wants to divide us, but we will not let them. From this day forward, our unity will be our greatest weapon. A rising power. As the coalition rebuilt and reinforced its defenses, Earth's influence continued to grow. More species flocked to their banner, inspired by their resilience and vision of a better future. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the heart of it. On the Helios observation deck, Carter stood with Lior, gazing at the distant stars. They'll come for us again, she said quietly. They will, Lior agreed. But next time, they won't just face humanity. They'll face a galaxy united by something the Federation could never understand. Carter smiled faintly. Hope.